You guys, what's going on? What was that? What's going on? Really quickly, I would like to address some elephants in this room that doesn't belong to me. So I did fly to South Korea. I'm in Seoul right now. I'm obviously not in my room. I did not bring my microphone. Was recovering from jet lag, and then I caught a cold. And now I feel better. So I don't want to see one comment saying, you said you were coming back, and then you left. This is me making a video. You guys, what's going on? So earlier this week, a press conference happened in front of the Mexican government of Mexico. And these motherfuckers rolled out boxes and they did an unboxing. They said, it's an alien. 2 alien bodies, actually. And they found 3, allegedly. We're going to talk about that. Before I show you guys the bodies, if you haven't seen them already, and like kind of dig into why this is so... the flavor is something's off. I need to set the stage. Relax with me for a moment. You will never meet a bitch that wants to see a real alien body more than me. Ever! I genuinely, I am kind of upset that I am making this video because I have a huge video plan. It's gonna be like an hour long. You're gonna get your snacks, bitch, because we're going to school. Of me basically explaining the UFO and alien situation as though we're on a FaceTime call. Because I feel like there's a lot of videos talking about aliens and stuff, but it's either like crazy MFs, which I'm not saying I'm not crazy, but you know, they're like, they've dedicated their life to this, and I respect it. But sometimes you need the information delivered in, you know, a more... surely you know what I mean. AC's on. I was wondering why it was so cold. Yeah, so let me get back. I have a really, really long video explaining the alien and UFO situation. And here's the thing. Here's the thesis statement. We're at a point in world where it's genuinely not a matter of do you believe in aliens or not. It is, have you been presented the information that exposes you to the reality that there are aliens and UFOs zipping around our atmosphere, under the water, all over the damn place, dude. And it's been happening for decades. Oh, I just gleeked. When's the last time you heard the word gleek? And yeah, I'm drinking a Monster. Don't piss me off right now, okay? Anyway, it's upsetting to me that I'm making this video before I make the big video because we're going into this without the context that I want you to have, which is important because my context is better than other people's contexts. And I'm just hoping, whatever, let me just get onto it. There's been a lot going on in the UFO alien world, and I'm a UFO-inator, bought the albums, helped them debut on #1 on the Billboard. Like, I've been standing since they were an indie band for about 3 years, because in 2020, the Pentagon declassified, leaked videos of UFOs flying around that were captured by U.S. Navy pilots. And everyone was like, fake, fake, fake. And then the Pentagon was like, actually, real, real, real. So what now? And then last month, there was this, so much stuff happened. Like, there's just so much to catch you up on, and we don't have time because I got to get to this Mexico shenanigans. Let me switch my little screen, because I use OBS now because I'm a professional content creator. Look at us sharing the screen. So Alejandro Sanchez says, "Ay, nanita, Jaime Maussan abrió sarcófagos diminutos para presentar cuerpos de seres no humanos." My Spanish is a little rusty, but that says, Jaime Maussan has just opened sarcophaguses presenting bodies of non-human beings. Los cuerpos están disecados y fueron encontrados en Perú en 2017. Se estima que tienen una antigüedad aproximada de 1000 años. The bodies were discovered. That's not what that word means, but I'm going to go with it. In Peru in 2017, they estimate that they are about 1,000 years old. Crazy. Jaime Maussan pide México ser el primer país en el mundo en reconocer oficialmente la presencia de fenómenos anómalos no identificados. So Jaime Maussan wants Mexico to be the first country in the world to officially recognize the presence of unidentified anomalous phenomena. UAP, unidentified anomalous phenomenon, just a little quick lesson, is what the government officially refers to UFOs as, because UFO carries a little bit of stigma. And in my big video, you'll find out why that's on purpose. Don't piss me off. Anyway, this is the alien. Like, I'm sorry, this is so silly. Right off the bat, when I saw this news break without seeing the photos, I was like, this is insane. Someone finally did it, and they are disclosing aliens, and they are showing a real body. And then I saw it, and I was like, that is made of paper mache. But I reserved judgment, okay? I reserved judgment because, like I was saying, no one wants this to be real more than me. So I was like, okay, whatever, it's mummified, it's aliens. We don't actually know. Whenever we see an alien, because I'm telling you, in the next few years, we will see a body. Whenever we see an alien, we're not gonna know what it looks like, okay? This does look silly to me, but I was reserving judgment. But it's started getting a little suspicious. However, in the x-rays that they released, you can see this little thing and then these little things. And I was like, what was that? That's just an MRI scan of the face. So it turns out this little plate across the chest is made of osmium. Osmium is one of the rarest elements in the Earth's crust, making up only 50 parts per trillion and the densest naturally occurring element. The newly released specimen had a never observed abundance of osmium. That's strange, right? So I was like, at this point in my discovery journey, I'm like, all right, I think this is fake. Convince me it's real. This did a little. I was like, if this was fake, first of all, how'd they get this much osmium? Why did they randomly think to put that in there? I'm on board a little. Here are more of the x-rays that they presented. Oh, let me be clear also, this was not the Mexican Congress presenting this. People can present things to the Mexican Congress to try and raise awareness and, stuff like that. So that's what this was. This was not this is not Mexico's government saying these are our aliens. Like, this is someone presenting to. You get it. These images are from the slides in Mexico's UFO hearing today. You can see this is just a photograph. These are x-rays of the skeleton. And these are legit x-rays. And a lot of, MRI. I should ask my mom. My mom's literally an MRI tech. But the consensus is these are real x-rays of real bones. The question is whether these bones are actually making up an alien body. MRI scans, it's got legit musculature and tissue as much as you can for being 1,000 years old, allegedly. It's strange. It is shocking to the brain. These little things, you may be like, what are those rocks in their tummy? Well, apparently it's eggs. That is probably the weirdest part. There's this osmium implant that is inside the body, which is strange, you gotta admit. Yeah. More. This is the hand. Okay. Then people in the UFO community started getting a little suspicious once we dig in a little more. And this person said, I'm rapidly coming to the conclusion that this story was prepared to discredit Ryan Gray. Both the Independent and Sky News stories try to implicate Ryan by association with taking part in the hearings. Is this a CIA psyop? We're getting a little conspiracy theory here, but something you should know is that Ryan Graves, this gentleman, is a retired U.S. pilot who experienced a bunch of sightings in active duty, and so did many of his fellow pilots. He reported them. Nothing was ever done about it. Ryan was one of the 3 people who presented to the United States Congress or Senate. I don't know. I'm so confused about the structure of our government works. It doesn't make any sense. But anyway, it was Ryan, another pilot, and the whistleblower David Grush. Ryan is a really respectable man. He's a veteran, incredibly clean record, has never indicated that he thinks it's aliens. He just specifically bases his statements off of his experience, which was he mostly saw gray cubes inside of clear spheres off the coast of the United States when they were running training drills. He said the pilots would encounter these almost every single day, which is so insane. He came forward with this information once the ball started rolling in the United States after those Pentagon videos got declassified. He was in the panel in front of the Mexican Congress, but he did not know that they were going to roll out these alien bodies. So Ryan, after all this backlash, tweeted, after the U.S. congressional UFO hearing, I accepted an invitation to testify before the Mexican Congress, hoping to keep up the momentum of the government interest in pilot experiences with UAP. This has always been his thing. Unfortunately, yesterday's demonstration was a huge step backwards for this issue. My testimony centered on sharing my experiences and the UAP reports I hear from commercial and military aircrew through ASA's Witness program. I will continue to raise awareness of UAP as an urgent matter of aerospace safety, national security, and science, but I'm deeply disappointed by this unsubstantiated stunt. Pretty harsh words, Ryan. But I'm kind of on his team. So basically, the theory is, because Ryan came forward with a small group of other whistleblowers, the people in charge of the program who know all the secrets of the alien business and have the craft and have the real bodies and stuff, don't want this to come out so bad that they will do anything to discredit the people who are coming forward. So people in the UFO community think that somehow this was arranged to discredit Ryan and associate him with an obvious hoax. Let's get back to the hoax, because Rob Sheridan, don't know who that is, quoted this tweet that says, "I hate to burst a bubble, but today's alien bodies are super fake. I showed an x-ray of one of these at the end of my documentary titled Humanoids, and Brian Forster knows this too. These bodies are made of dead dog skulls and a mix of other bones. Look up the Nazca mummies." And Rob says, "Folks, the meat of this all seems to be in the bones. The bones!" Let's talk about these bones. This is not the first time Jaime Maussan has tried to present fake aliens using mummies. In 2015, he organized a pay-per-view event where he presented a mummified body of a human child as one of the aliens from the Roswell crash. Roswell is like one of the most famous UFO crashes of all time. It ended in the guy who analyzed the body apologized publicly. Maussan refused to. These are the Nazca mummies from 2016 and 17. Look familiar? Almost the same exact structure and shape. The hips, the chest, these are obviously similar. And the thing is, these Nazca mummies were debunked as being made up of pillaged bones from archaeological digs, put together mishmash. There's a whole video basically saying how they're made of, like, you know, to me, this is the exact same mummy that was just presented to Mexico Congress. I mean, look at it's the same exact eggs, same exact chest piece. I mean, this is the same thing. But the gag is, people figured out that it is actually the same. They just flipped the x-rays. Like, they're literally just mirrored. Basically, he just said one of the leg bones, one of the thigh bones is actually an arm bone, like a human arm bone. Yeah, it's just flipped around.
Another one is a tibia.
And that one's a tibia. Like, they're not even the same bone.
The poor humanoid wouldn't have made a single...
Iconic animation, but basically, if this was real, it wouldn't have even been able to walk because of the hip bones. And then it goes on to say how in the fingers, they used bits and pieces of like toes and finger stuff, but then they flipped them like different ways. And so this video focuses a lot on like the asymmetry of the body. It gets kind of interesting. It says that the skull might be a llama skull.
The cranial cavity of a llama.
So seemingly, if this debunker is true, they just cut up a llama skull, added on some mouth bones, and called it a day, and called it an alien, which is pretty damning. Yeah, and it kind of falls apart. However, there are some people who are making some good points. In the defense of the person who presented these bodies, they fully publicly released all of the data sets of the DNA sequencing, the MRI scans, the x-rays, the CAT scans, all of it. They've released everything. It's like 54 gigabytes of medical information. It's a ton of data. And in the presentation, he was like, if you don't believe us, because he even brought up this hoax that happened before. He was like, we know this looks the same. We ran all these different tests. Please test it yourselves. Like, please try and prove us wrong. We are so confident in this that we are releasing everything for anyone to see, anyone to go through the information, which does bring a little bit of weight to the argument, because if you were trying to hoax, pretty tough to fake DNA sequencing, you know what I mean? And this is really recent. And there was a lot of scientists who were like, I can analyze this when I get to work on Monday, but it's going to take a long time, like days and days. So in the next coming week, after independent tests have been done on the data that was released, we'll have a better idea. That is one thing to note. But there's other things that are also interesting that bring some credence to this argument. Let's be clear, I still think this is fake. This person made a whole thread on why they might be real, DNA evidence aside. First off, were these things really found in a 1,000-year-old mine? If so, that definitely rules out modern hoaxes. Not necessarily to me. They could have been bones that were found and then put together. This one to me though. Third, the eggs inside. They contain fetuses. Of what? Human DNA? Sorry, but that is one elaborate and painstaking hoax to pull off. In case you forgot, humans don't hatch from eggs. Whatever the F is going on here, I find the egg the weirdest. Just the level of detail that goes into crafting human DNA within an egg, the weight of vertebrae shifted to accommodate the gestation. That's some next level hoaxing. This, to me, is the best argument for this body because there is an embryo inside those eggs inside, which is crazy whether it's a hoax or not. And if not, that is actually so scary that they found human fetuses in an egg inside a paper mache doll. Then we have examining the alien body. Her name is Clara. It's so funny to me. This is the Nazca mummy from like 2017 or whatever. It's the same thing. And also it's way smaller than I thought. And also, I'm sorry, but if this is like actually an archaeological like dig find, I just don't feel like they're gonna be handling this with just like gloves and like setting it down, right? Maybe I like don't know anything about archaeological artifacts, but I just don't feel like they would be like, you know, this is what I was talking about with the flipped CAT scans. So this is the Nazca mummy that was debunked, and then this is the new body that was presented. They're the exact same. They're just mirrored. These are the exact same. The egg shapes are the exact same position. Like these are the same. But something interesting. A while ago, this video from Siberia came out, and everyone like agreed that it was a hoax. But this looks eerily similar to the bodies that were just presented in Mexico. So apparently these people in Siberia came across this body that had been kind of like towed up by like dogs or something. And that is low-key the exact same alien, like same species, you know, if we're going to go that way, as what was presented in Mexico, which even if both were hoaxes, it's interesting that they look almost the exact same. Head shape, that chest, the hips. If I had a nickel for every time someone tried to pass this off as a real alien, I'd have 2 nickels, which isn't a lot of nickels, but it's crazy that it happened twice. Supposedly, these people who filmed this video came out and said that they made it out of chicken, which also feels a bit fishy to me too. This has always like been kind of strange to me. I mean, I never was like, oh, that's like a legit alien, because practical effects are incredible. Like anyone could have made this and tossed it in the snow. But now that this Mexico alien has come out, you know, it just reminds you of this a lot. Like it's really similar. And also, Lockheed scientists, which if you don't know, Lockheed Martin is allegedly one of the main players in crash retrieval and reverse engineering of UAP and UFOs. And one of the scientists, Boyd Bushman, before his death, you know, the classic deathbed confession, recorded this video where he talked about his work in Area 51 and presented a series of photographs, including these, which also look pretty similar to this. Don't you think? The UFO world is blowing up right now about this. And one thing I find pretty frustrating, because I bet most of you guys watching this have seen this on Twitter, but I also bet the same amount of you probably didn't hear about the actual official United States hearing with a high-level intelligence officer whistleblowing about crash retrieval, reverse engineering projects that are happening and have been happening for 70 years with these 2 pilots who have their own experiences in field seeing UFOs. And we got some bombshells. The whistleblower was like, the United States government does have bodies. We do have intact and partially intact spacecraft. That's insane. And I don't feel like it got the amount of press that this obviously fake alien body is getting, which just makes me, you know, as an alien enthusiast, some might say, it just makes me wonder, like, why is media coverage so high for something that most people, including people who are like on the alien train already, think is fake, but then an intelligence officer from the United States government left his job and came forward through a legal procession? You know, why isn't that getting as much coverage as this? Makes you think. Makes you think. So that was today's episode of Levi being a conspiracy theorist. I still have not finished my script for the big UFO video. Is that something that would interest you, or am I just gonna sound like a fucking crackpot for an hour while I talk about this? Let me know. Also, follow me on Instagram, and if you find any like interesting stories or like TikTok trends that are going on that you want me to talk about on YouTube, please DM them to me on Instagram. I would love to take your ideas. While I'm here in Seoul, like catching up with friends and going around, it's tough for me to like stay in the loop on TikTok and stuff. So please send them to me. I would appreciate it so much. Bye.